Hi, I'm Derek Hooper, Australian PGA professional and golf coach, and thank you for joining me today for the next lesson in our Better Putting Blueprint series. In earlier lessons we covered the fundamentals of putting, technical aspects that are required for you to be a great putter, but that alone is not going to allow you to be a great putter on the golf course. So today what we're going to talk about in a little more detail is pre-shot routine and the mental skills that are required for you to be a great putter. So probably the thing I get asked most often from players is that they want to be more consistent with their golf game, yet they have very inconsistent processes. So to me, if you want to have consistent outcomes, you have to have consistent processes. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. We need to have a consistent pre-shot routine if we want to consistently get the ball in the hole. So remember from our earlier stuff, we want to make sure that prior to making the stroke, we're going to have a practice stroke first. We're trying to determine how long of a stroke do I need to make the ball go the distance that I want. I'm going to put my right foot forward, aim the putter by placing it behind the ball on the ground. Once I'm happy with where it's aimed, I want to just gently press the putter in the ground so it doesn't move. I put my left foot into set ball position, right foot away to set stance width. I have one last look at the hole, back to the ball, make my stroke and hold my finish. And what I'm trying to do there is I just want to make sure that I get a feel for that stroke length, produce the ball to go that far. I then set up and I do it again. Now the idea is I would like you to work through a couple of drills where you can work on that pre-shot routine. One that I really like for you working on pre-shot routine is just playing 9 holes around the putting green, sorry. We're not really trying to keep score, but your objective is to make sure that your routine is identical on every single putt. Same number of practice strokes, same tempo with your routine. It doesn't need to be exactly the same amount of time every time, but we want to get it pretty close, and we're trying to make sure we hold that finish each time and make that routine consistent so you can get to the point where it's pretty much automatic. You can just look at a target and go. One of the things that I find when I start talking to players about pre-shot routine is that they're still very, very focused on their stroke mechanics. And because that's what we've worked on in those earlier lessons, it's not going to be unusual for you to be in that same boat. So I want to share with you a little drill that we do to help players get away from being so technical with their stroke and be a little more target oriented. So I'd still get the player to go through their routine as we would. I'm having a practice stroke, trying to feel the length of stroke I need to make the ball go to the hole. I still want to aim the putter before I set my feet. Go ahead, then set my feet. And my objective now is, instead of looking at the ball when I hit the putt, I want to look at the hole. Because I find players, when they're looking at the ball, sometimes they're focused on, well, if the ball's got to go 8 feet, I've got to move the putter back to the middle of my right foot and through the middle of my left foot. And if the ball's got to go 10 feet, now it's got to go to the outside of my right foot and the outside of my left foot. And the reality is that's not a rule of thumb that you can use consistently from green to green. You know, we might have an uphill putt, downhill putt, green might be fast, might be slow, it could be wet, it could be dry. We want to be much more feel oriented in what we're doing, and the best way to do that is to look at the target that we're trying to putt to and then react to that target. So again, the drill would be practice stroke first, trying to feel how long the stroke needs to be. I want to aim the putter, set my feet, look at the hole, stay looking at the hole, make my stroke, and then do that again. And I'm trying to get a better sense of how does that stroke feel to get the ball in the hole, and start to get a better sense of the feeling of the stroke and be a little less mechanical with it. So if you can get away, if you're having trouble by focusing too much on your stroke mechanics, looking at the hole is a great drill. The other one I'd love to see you do, once you can start to look at the target and feel that target a little bit more, is get a little more into that pre-shot routine exercise and start to get a consistent pre-shot routine. So now that you have a consistent pre-shot routine, hopefully you're starting to get more consistent outcomes with your putting. I want to spend a few minutes talking about some of the mental processes involved with being a great putter. So we're set up here on the green. I've got this rod here to represent our line of commitment, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in a moment. And I want to talk a little bit about what we think about and where we think about it, and then how we get over the ball and clear our mind to be able to execute as well as possible. So whenever you're playing any shot, whether it be a putt or anything else, there's an area back here that we're going to define as our think box. And this is where we're going to do our thinking. So what I mean by that is, back here is where I'm going to read the green. Remember, I'm looking either side of the line as I'm running down it with my eyes, trying to determine how much this ball is going to curve to the right or to the left. So I'm trying to determine, well, how much do I need to aim to the right or left if I'm going to hit this ball into the hole? What's the speed that I need to hit it at to make it go that distance? I'm also taking into account Is it an uphill putt? Is it a downhill putt? Is it green wet? Is it dry? Factoring all those things in as I'm sitting here trying to make a decision. The other thing that I find players will do is some of them will be able to sit here and be able to see the line that the ball's going to roll along as it rolls across the green, and they actually see this track running across the green, and that's where they're going to roll their putt along. I have other players that struggle to see that sometimes, so therefore they focus a little more on that end target, the same as you would if you were going to throw a dart at a dartboard. You'd focus at the bullseye rather than the trajectory that it would travel along to get there. So I don't mind which one of those options you go with, but we want to be here and have a very, very clear picture of what we're going to do before we cross our line of commitment and enter what's going to be called our play box. So again, we're back here in the think box at the moment. Back here I can do all my thinking. Length of stroke, where do I need to aim it, what speed do I need to have, how much is it going to break, uphill, downhill, all those different things that I'm calculating in my mind to make a firm decision. So once I'm here and I've made that decision as to what I want to do, I'm going to cross my line of commitment, and now I'm here. All I'm doing is I'm trying to get a feel for how long that stroke needs to be that I've made the decision about. I'm going to go ahead and aim the putter at that target that I'd chosen. Go ahead and set up. Now if I get to here and I start thinking again, if I start going, oh, I'm not sure if that breaks right, I don't want to just make an adjustment here and then go ahead and hit the putt. I need to go back here again, back into my think box, because remember, this is where I do my thinking. So I'm going to recalculate, make a change if I need to, make the decision that I need to make, commit to that decision when I cross the line of commitment, and then go through my routine again. Practice strokes as we said. Okay, now I'm happy with that commitment. Go ahead, set it up. I've made the decision. I'm going to commit to that decision. Go ahead and let it go. And I didn't quite get the speed right on that putt, but I had it on the right line. I find a lot of players really struggle with this exercise. They get over the ball, they're second guessing, they want to steer the ball into the hole. And because they're never committed to their decision, they never get good feedback about how they're actually doing. I always find it's far better for you to set up and make a firm commitment to the wrong decision than make no decision and make no commitment to any decision at all. And the reason that I say that is that at least if you hit it on the line that you've chosen and the ball doesn't go in the hole, you can get some feedback about what you got wrong. Did I get the speed wrong? Did I read it wrong? You can then come back, have another look at it, figure out where you were incorrect with that decision, learn from that opportunity so that you're a better putter moving forward. The exercise I'd like to see you do with this in mind is I'd love to see you play 9 holes around the green. Your objective is to play 9 holes working on thinking in the think box, make a decision, commit to that decision when you cross the line of commitment, and then get up and play only when you're in the play box. No thinking when you're in the play box. I want you to go ahead, commit to your decision, learn from the outcome, move on to the next hole. This will be a really valuable exercise for you to become a great putter. It's also a great exercise for you to work on in other aspects of your game as well. So if you can get away, work on that exercise a little, that's going to be a great way for you to improve your mental skills for putting. The final exercise I'd like to see you do for today's lesson is working through that think box and play box again, but instead of just working through it and trying to improve it, I want you to actually score how well you're doing. So what I'd like you to do is see if you can go around the green, play 9 holes, again, thinking in the think box, making your decisions about the direction and speed and that sort of stuff. Cross the line of commitment with a firm decision and go ahead and commit to that decision. And I want you to I want you to count how many times you can do that without starting to think in the play box, without getting over the ball, second guessing your line and making corrections, without making a stroke and then making in-stroke corrections for what you think is an incorrect aim. Can you go through this exercise, line the putter up, commit to that line, and see how many times you can do that for 9 holes. I'm sure that if you can do, the more often you will do that, the more successful you will be at putting. You're going to make more putts, you're going to be a better putter, and long term, you're just going to shoot lower scores. So that's going to be the exercise I'd love to see you finish with this week. Get away, work on that think box and play box, and you will be a better putter. Thank you for joining me today for our mental skills lesson in our Better Putting Blueprint series. I hope you can get away and practice the drills that we talked about, because I know they're going to help make you a better putter. If you've got any questions on anything that we talked about today, or if you want to make any comments on your own practice as you've been working through this, please feel free to add them along with this video. I'd love to hear from you and to answer any questions you have. Also, please have a look attached to this video. You will find any links to any training aids that we used today, as well as the exercises that we talked about in today's lesson. So thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.